Well, it is 10 o'clock now. So what I'm going to do is just start off by letting you know who we are. My name is Danny Mitchell. I'm the HCCI program manager here with TCSG. And Rosalind Dennis is the grant specialist, obviously the most important person in this process because she's the one that's going to get to know you and make sure you get the funds for the HCCI program for the award. So before we get started, just want to go through a few housekeeping rules so everybody can understand how we're going to do this. I'm going to go through this program. If you have a question, please hold it till the end, or you can type it in the chat box. When you ask a question, feel free to go off of mute, ask the question, and then once you're done with asking the question, go back on mute to be able to allow other people to ask questions as well. But we're going to go ahead and get started now. So next slide, please. All right, so we're going to start off I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence, but what is a registered apprenticeship program? So a registered apprenticeship program is an industry-driven, high-quality career pathway for employers to be able to develop, prepare, train, and retain, obviously, highly skilled workers. So I always talk to people about apprenticeships, and I say, you get to hire your future workforce today. You get to hire somebody not because they have all the skills already, but you get to hire somebody because they're a great fit for your organization. So there's benefits for both the businesses and the workforce as well. Obviously, having a highly skilled employee, a strong employee retention, higher productivity, and a more diverse workforce is obviously benefit to the employer as well as to the employee or the apprentice as well, because a more diverse workforce allows for people to be able to look around and say, hey, I can work with people because I can work with people just like myself, and I can work with people that, get me, so to speak. Benefit to the workforce, obviously, the increased skills, the higher wages, the industry recognized credential or that national credential, which is one of the things we talk about on apprenticeships on a regular basis, is being able to have that piece of paper that says, hey, I am a certified welder or whatever it is, career advancement and obviously upward mobility. When we talk about apprenticeships, you're not just coming into a job and one job for the rest of your life. You're coming into a pathway that allows you to grow and to be the best person you can inside that organization. Next slide. I think we still have a few more people coming in, but so a little bit about the High Demand Career Initiative program. So we obviously probably have already seen all the press releases and everything going out, but the High Demand Career Initiative was Governor Kemp's initiative, a state initiative by Governor Kemp, signed into law with Senate Bill 379 in July 2022 to be able to invest in employers. So this is a direct investment into the employers. It's not for the registered apprenticeship sponsor unless it is the employer or the RTI provider. This is directly to the employer to be able to expand apprenticeships and help get more apprentices through the program. So right now, FY 2022, we have been able to have $1 million allocated to apprenticeships. A large portion of that was allocated during our first round of applications, but we opened up a second one to be able to allocate the rest of those funds to employers that deserve and want to grow apprenticeships. So our FY 2023 application window will open up in April and go through June, so that hopefully we can get everything lined up. So 1 July, we'll be able to start awarding those funds to employers for FY 2023. So look for that application window coming up in the next few months. Next slide. So a little bit about the HCCI program award process. So each employer can have up to $10,000 per apprentice and up to 5 apprentices per employer in that fiscal year. So if you look at the chart there, it shows you basically how that works. A 1-year apprenticeship program is going to be a $5,000 award. A 2-year would be $7,500, and a 3 or more year would be $10,000. So in the way that's going to work is every employer who's awarded the HCCI program, once they put an apprentice into the Rapids or have an ETA the 671 form, and they're in Rapids and they start that program, the initial award will be $2,500. So $2,500 per apprentice based off of that program. So let's use a 1-year apprenticeship program. For example, that initial payment of $2,500 would come after that apprentice is enrolled in Rapids and starts the program. And then upon completion of the program, they would receive the remaining balance of $2,500. Subsequently, a 2- and 3-year process, you would be able to get $2,500 each year, and then the remaining balance of that would be at the end of the award, or the end of the apprenticeship. So if you look at the employer eligibility, we want to make sure we just touch on this a little bit. The employer has to be located in Georgia and operate in Georgia. They have to be in operation for at least 1 year. And they have to have apprentices. They do not have to be the apprenticeship sponsor. They can have a college as a sponsor. They could have a third party as a sponsor, but they have to be that employer of record and actually have the apprentices in their organization, training them as full-time employees and bringing them in the system. They also have to be current on all their state taxes. So there's all these specifics and many more in our HCCI program guide, which we'll talk about shortly. But that's just an overview of the what it is for the employer. Next slide. So what do you need to be an apprentice, right? So you have to be at least 15 years of age. And then that's up to the employer. A lot of them require them to be 18, but you have to be at least 15 per Senate Bill 379. You have to be in a qualified registered apprenticeship program, the USDOL registered apprenticeship program, after 1 July 2022. Want to be clear on that. If you have an apprentice that's in the program before 1 July 2022, before the Senate bill went into effect, then they will not count. So after 1 July 2022, and they also have to be in one of the HCCI career fields. So Rosalind, if you could just click on the occupation link so they can see that real quick. We will obviously put this this PowerPoint out with all the links in it. You'll be able to access it. But if you look here, you see the ONET occupation codes, and it has all the different codes on there. It has our ONET codes on there. So you'll be able to search for what your job title is or what your industry code is, and be able to see if they're on the HDCI list. If you have any questions, obviously you can refer back to us and we'll say, hey, we want to make sure that you understand it. Here is the Word document that talks a little bit about some of the industry sectors. Scroll down a little bit. As you can see, advanced manufacturing, aerospace, agriculture, business, and several others are on there. But you can have access to all this from the PowerPoint. So if you have any questions on it, you can obviously contact us and we'll be able to walk you through the process. You can go ahead and minimize that now, Rosalind. So how to apply? So you're going to click on the HCCI program list. You can go ahead and click on that link, Rosalind, so we can just show them the web page. So if you scroll down just a little bit there. So if you see on the left, there's an HCCI program guidelines. So any of the questions that you may have about this program are going to be in the program guideline. It has everything from the award process, the MOU process, what industries are available. All that's in there so you can actually go through it, and obviously have any questions, we'll be able to field them. But if you look on the right, there's that sample application, and right under it is click to access the application. Can you click on that, Rosalind, real quick for me? Not the sample application, sorry. Yeah, just go down, click on the actual application link. I want you to see this real quick, how it works. So scroll down a little bit. You can see all the employer information. Keep scrolling down. Everything in there. Although two things that we'll talk about a little bit more, but in this section, we're going to need your tax identification number, which is FEIN number. If you have Georgia unemployment insurance, we're going to need that number if you're required to have it. The industry code, which could be manufacturing, construction, or anything like that, and then a NAICS code. So go click on the NAICS code web page, that CB web page up there top, the North American, right in the center of yours. Keep going over. Oh, keep going. I want to show you, yeah, right there. So if you wonder what is my NAICS code? If you scroll down a little bit, Rosalind, let's click on the manufacturing, the 31-33. That would be your industry sector code 31. And then if you scroll through there, you can see if I'm an animal food manufacturer, my NAICS code is 31111. So if you don't know what your NAICS code is, click on that, and that's the best way to figure out what it is. That link will be in the PowerPoint as well, but I just wanted to show you guys that so you can say, hey, this is where I can find it at. And you can also look at the industry sectors on our HCCI list and pull your industry sector straight from there. You can write it in. My industry sector is manufacturing. My NAICS code is, let's say, 31111. And then that way you have all that information at your fingertips. And obviously, if you have any questions, we'll be glad to walk you through that process. Go ahead and minimize that, Rosalind. So go down to the bottom of this. We did want to share this with you. Let's say I'm working through this and I don't have time to be able to get everything done, you can click the save and continue later, and that will pull up an email address. So if you type in your email address, you'll actually be able to put it in there, send the link to your address, your email address, and then continue on from there. All right, next slide. All right, go ahead and open up the sample application window. Just wanted to cover a couple of things in there. That is a 671. Yep, there we go. So just scroll down a little bit. So can everybody see this good and everything? So if you look on there, obviously you have your employer information. We talked about those 4 key things, and now it's gone.
Sorry, 1 second. I can't pull back up the thing without messing that up. Apologies, 1 moment.
Yeah, we'll put the NAICS code website in there right at the end.
Here we go.
All right, so looking at the application, we're just going to go through it, scroll down a little bit more. So in this area, obviously you're going to answer all the questions about the taxes, scroll down a little bit more. So this is an area that we often talk about, the apprenticeship information. So if you're not the registered sponsor, get with your registered apprenticeship sponsor to fill out this portion, because they're going to have that RAPIDS program number, the related occupation code, let's say 15-3022. They're going to know what those are, and sometimes the employers don't necessarily know what those are. So work with your registered apprenticeship sponsor to get your RAPIDS program number. Your RAPIDS program can be something like 2013 HY or 2013 time-based. HY would be hybrid or competency-based, but they'll be able to give you all that information. And scroll down a little bit more. And then just, do you currently use any of our programs like the ASE or the AER grant or any other grants that you're receiving? We just want to know that so we can let our team know, hey, they're already using the ASE grant, or if you're not and are interested in it, we can obviously get you more information. And then, excuse me, scroll these questions here. So we get a lot of questions about the questions, right? So one of them is how do you impact your local community? Is there anything special about, or any characteristics that you want to highlight about your apprenticeship program? So some of the things we have seen from this is, hey, we have a youth program where we go out to the high schools and we work with youth to get into the programs. We work with justice involved or justice impacted individuals to be able to bring them on. So if you hire a reentry population, we want to know that. Or if you have specific programs that focus on bringing females into the trades or being females into apprenticeships, we want to know those things to be able to highlight that on the application. So anything that's specific to that, we want to make sure we understand that. Then go down a little bit more. Then here's just the documentations. Rosalind's going to go over some of that and just making sure that we have signatures on it. So you can go ahead and minimize that. All right, go on to the next slide. All right, Rosalind, take it away.
All righty. So the application checklist and supporting documents, these are things you want to make sure that you have prepared to attach to your application. The first thing would be the proof of legal corporation status, and that could be the certificate of incorporation from the Secretary of State. Also, you want to attach your workers' compensation, proof of that, and proof of your the employer being current on all the taxes. So that could be a tax clearance letter or past tax information. I'm also going to go over the ETA 671 form. This is what the sponsor of the Registered Apprenticeship Program will assist the employer with. So you want to make sure that this document is completed into its entirety, and I'll pull up the form here. So on the ETA 671, you want to make sure every section is completed with the apprentice information, the social security number, everything here. So this first part A is the apprentice information. Part B is where the program sponsor will complete that. And down here, all of the wages, the entry wage for the apprentice and the journey worker wages, you will complete all of this information here for a complete form. Last page has all of the signatures. So we need to make sure we have wet signatures from the apprentice to put them into the registered program. The sponsor and the employer would also need to sign. Also at the bottom here, you just need to put in the apprentice identification number. But if you don't have that, once they get put into the rapid system, that will populate. And if there are any questions or concerns about, there's definitions and instructions also on the bottom of this ETA form.
Okay, so I just want to address the one aim for the section 4 for the tax clearance letter. When we email out this PowerPoint to everybody that came to the event today, we'll email that tax clearance, excuse me, letter as well, just to make sure you guys have the link. But yeah, we'll make sure that that's available. We did have some problems, some hiccups with it. We'll make sure the link should work. Sometimes it doesn't. We'll get with our IT team to make sure we can click on that link as well. But we will send that link out to be able to help you guys out. All right, so this is the ETA form workflow process. So I just want to go over this real quick so everybody can understand. The 671 process was one of those things that had some ups and downs when we were going through the last application window. So we're going to talk about the employer sponsor first. So the HCCI team, when you apply to the for the award and say, hey, I have a registered apprenticeship program in manufacturing or whatever it is, we're going to get with the Office of Apprenticeship, make sure that that program is currently registered and what the registered apprenticeship program number is. We're going to get with the sponsor. Once you guys get the apprentices, if you already have them, then we'll get the completed 671s. But if you're recruiting for them, once you get the apprentices, we're going to make sure that you guys fill out the ETA form 671 in completion with all the signatures to include the apprentice, the registered apprenticeship sponsor, and the employer in that case if it's somebody separate. And then we're going to get with the HD, once that is done and the ATA form 671 is submitted to the Office of Apprenticeship, we will verify that they are uploaded in there with the through the Office of Apprenticeship. So an employer sponsor is obviously going to have to work with the Office of Apprenticeship, but they're already doing that, so that's not something that they're not familiar with. So on the college side, with the colleges, a registered apprenticeship sponsor, which we have a large number of employers that are going through the college, the HDCI team, which is us, will verify that they have a registered apprenticeship program and an employer agreement in Rapids. So once all that is put into Rapids, we can go on there and see that the employer is on there and they have what their registered apprenticeship program is. So we'll say this, just to ensure that the registered apprenticeship program that the employer applies for is the program that the college has. So we had some hiccups where employers have multiple programs registered and we had to figure out which one it was. So just make sure the employer says, hey, this is the actual name of the apprenticeship program and the number of years is correct. That's another thing that we saw in the ETA form 671s where maybe an employer said that the program was 2 years long and the program in Rapids was only 1 year. So please verify that when you're filling out the ETA form 671s. But the college is going to work with the employer to make sure that form is complete with all the signatures, then upload it to the TCSG Dropbox where the apprenticeship team can go ahead and get them into the system, get their Rapids numbers uploaded for each one of those apprentices, and then we'll be able to verify that in Rapids. So next slide. Here's some of the frequently asked questions. You can go through that, but I want to go to the next slide real quick. We touched on that briefly. This is the NAICS code in the industry sector. So what is an industry sector? An industry sector is something like manufacturing. It's a group, everybody gets grouped under manufacturing that manufactures stuff. But if you look at the NAICS code structure, the 2 digits is the sector, then the subsector, industry grouping, industry, and then it goes all the way down to 6 sectors or 6 digits. But when you go on to that Census Bureau website for the NAICS code, it has FAQs on there. It has instructions to help you be able to go through this process. Like if you click on the 2022 NAICS code, it pulls up everything. If you look at the search bar on the right side and you put in, let's say, manufacturing, it will bring up all the different manufacturing codes. or you can go down and you can click on the link 31 through 33, which is your manufacturing code. So just so that, and you can look there and obviously see what the different ones were. But if you looked up aerospace, you would see that aerospace falls under one specific area, or technology would fall under information, and then information would show you information security, it would show you cybersecurity and all the different ones. So it's a very useful tool if you don't already know what your NAICS code is, and it helps you guys look and be able to find what you're looking for. So, all right, go ahead and minimize that. So we're at the point now where we want to be able to field all the questions that you guys have. So let me see what's in here. Hold on. It says if an apprentice starts, so if an apprentice starts after 7 July or 1 July 2022, they would be eligible. Even if let's say the program started in May of 2023. When you read through the process, we do an MOU that gives you time to register those apprentices and then put them into the application or into Rapids, and then they would be able to be awarded for that. Does that answer your question, Shelley?
I think so. So basically they can start the apprenticeship after the
Yes.
award period time. It's just all the documents have to be in place.
Correct.
After
Yes.
that. Okay.
Yes, sorry.
Thank you.
So it says, would we need to submit different apprentices, or may they be co-enrolled? Not sure I understand that one, Marie. Are you talking about, or would they be in two separate programs, or?
Sorry, I pulled back the first part of the question because you answered it, but I just realized that the first part of my question was actually helpful to the second question. So we are recipients of ASE funding, and my question was whether or not we needed to submit different apprentices if selected for this, or can we co-enroll them?
Yeah, they can be co-enrolled. Yes, that makes more sense now. Yeah, you can utilize all those funding streams together, and that also includes WIOA funding streams. So if you have WIOA funding streams that you're using, whether it be on-the-job training, incumbent worker training, an individual training account, you can utilize those as well. There is no WIOA requirement, so these are state funds, are separate from the federal grant funds. So yes, you can combine all those funds together. Yeah, we're going to say. Yep, not a problem. We are going to send this out via email, the whole slide deck, and then we'll send that link as well for the for the tax clearance letter. Is there any other questions or any other? I don't see any more in the chat. I think I answered all of them.
Hey, Danny, I thought I had dropped one in the chat. I just wanted to be clear based on Rosalind's comment that the 671 forms do not have to be completely done prior to the application.
No, they do not. So
all right.
If you open up that resource guide, it'll talk about the MOU process. So we base the award process off of, if you look in the application, it says there's an estimated start date for the apprenticeship. If the estimated start date for the apprenticeship is in May, then obviously we know you probably don't have the apprentices in the system right now. Typically, 30 to 60 days before you're going to get those apprentices, get them in the system. And once you do, that's perfectly okay with us, and that's part of our process. But yes, no, they do not have to have them to start. If you already have them, that's great. We can go ahead and get them in the system and get the award process done faster. But we had several people who applied that said, hey, they applied back in July and said my window, or back in November, sorry, and said my apprenticeship doesn't start till January, and that's perfectly okay with us. So, because it's part of our process. Obviously, we want new apprentices to be part of it and existing apprentices to be part of it as well. So,
yeah, we can actually submit them. We do. They've already started, but we typically don't submit the 671 until they start their college component piece. But we don't have to do it that way. That's why I wanted clarification.
Yeah, no worries. So it says our next round of hiring new apprentices will be in August 2023. Am I able to already include them in the apprenticeship even if they don't register? before August 20. Well, I would say that, Amy, if you're going to get, like, when our application window opens up in April, apply for how many, like you just said, hey, I'm going to have 5 apprentices in August, then apply for that there, because that would be our FY 2023 funds, and that would probably be the best time to apply is in April. And then we know that when August comes around, you'll have everything spread away.
Johnny Dotson has a question. Hi, Johnny.
Hello. I'm sorry. Hey Danny.
Hello.
I've been trying to follow the dates. Please kind of refresh me again. Okay, now when can we start the applications for the HDCI award process for this wave of open thingy?
On the 19th of January. So yes, it is open from now until the 6th of March. So this window is open now until 6th March. So any employers that aren't currently receiving awards, that this is for new employers. So if they're already getting their awards, they're not going to apply again unless they say applied for 1 and they needed 3 more or something like that. But no, it opened up January 19th and will close on 6 March at 5:30 p.m. So says our out-of-state residents that work for a Georgia employer located company eligible. I would take that on a case-by-case basis. We just see what their residency is. We do have employees that don't have a Georgia driver's license, but they work for a company here in Georgia. So we typically just go through that on a case-by-case basis. But it is a possibility. We just have to make sure it will meet our requirements. So. Yeah, I'm only requiring a 4-digit NAICS code. We don't need a 6-digit. I don't have to go down that rabbit hole. So, and I think that's it so far. Is there any other questions? I don't want to keep you guys too long if there's no need to. So. Go to the last slide, Rosalind. Yep, so here's just a quick overview of the links, the HCCI, the apprenticeship, and apprenticeships.gov. When you're talking to employers about creating a registered apprenticeship, because we've had those conversations as well, apprenticeships.gov is a great place to start. It has all the resources they need to understand what the work processes are and everything from that perspective. So I would go ahead and close this now. If you don't have any other questions, say thank you for your time. We will send this out. We'll get this all put together and sent out for everybody so they it'll be on our website. And we will also send out the link along with the PowerPoint slides. So if that is it, you have a wonderful day. Thank you guys for attending. I look forward to seeing everybody apply. We've already had some companies applying. We look forward to the rest of the companies applying to be able to help out with the apprenticeship process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Everybody,
everyone. Have a good one.
day.